Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Tuesday, Born Again to Live, and again we got guest host DJ with us today. It's just me and DJ today. We've whittled it down to the final two, and DJ and I are going to talk about I don't know what, because he's got a topic and he wants to know my thoughts on it. So
Well, it's not necessarily just your thoughts, but I've seen you share the same opinion as I have without either one of us really sharing a scripture part of it. It'll make more sense in a few minutes. But
I've cheated enough that I got to the book. I don't know what chapter or verse yet.
well, actually, we're just working on chapter 1. But,
Okay.
and before we start, obviously, if I'm here, that means Amy is not. So, Amy, we love you. We miss you. We look forward to you being back. But until then, it's always a privilege to sit in here with Eric and do these podcasts. So we miss you, my friend.
Yep. And when I started this day, I had no clue how many episodes I was going to get recorded, and I was just open for a couple just to get me to plan. And now I'm almost a week and a couple days ahead of where I needed to be, so that Amy should be back tomorrow on the podcast when you
That'd be
listen to
awesome.
it. So that's going to be great.
I've been in the book of James at church all of May, and I'll be there most of June, hopefully. I mean, unless God tells me something different. And he's done that to me before. I've had a sermon ready, then on Thursday be rereading it, and God be like, nope. But I shared something several weeks ago in church, and it's found in the book of James, chapter 1, in verse 2. Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And I put something on the screen at church, and this is what I was going to talk to you about, because I've heard you tell other students something similar, but what I put on the screen was, don't rejoice over the bad things that happened, but rejoice on how it made you stronger.
Yeah.
And I even had somebody take a picture and send it to me, because they really liked that a lot. And but a lot of times we will deal with youth. Obviously, here at Big Blue,
Yeah.
I did youth ministry for a long time. But it's not just necessarily youth, it's also people we just deal with. The more we stay in ministry, I always said counselors and pastors are very similar. People will come and talk to you about stuff that you may or may not be prepared to hear, that you may or may not want to hear. But we got to make ourselves available. It is what it is. But consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the lap testing of your faith produces endurance. And I've made this statement before to students that me and you both, I will actually speak for you, we've both have gone through trials. And when you read the subtitle of this chapter, right there above verse 2, mine says trials and maturity. I don't know if yours does.
Mine says profiting from trials.
All right, trials. I believe we all go through trials in life.
Oh, yeah.
I've shared with you before, I went through the trial of losing my mom when I was a teenager. Later in life, I got to talk to a young lady who was in the process of dealing with her mother being diagnosed with cancer. And because of the trial that I went through, I was prepared to talk to her. I didn't understand the trial that I went through. And in that very moment, I knew that God used me in a way that only God could use me in. And and it's not just that, I'm not proud to say it at all. I had a drinking problem. Now I speak at a lot of recovery meetings. I went to jail my senior year. Drinking got me in trouble a couple of times. And it could have got me in a lot more trouble than what it did.
Yeah.
But we all face trials. I face trials. I know you have faced trials. I mean, your house burnt down not long ago. You went through and if I say something you don't want me to say, just delete it.
Good.
But you went through a divorce. You just got the executive director position here before, but you applied once before too and didn't get it.
Yeah.
You've gone through trials in life. And by all means, you can share your own trials here in just a minute. I'm just sharing some of the ones that I know of that me and you have talked and prayed about. But look how it made you stronger.
Oh yeah.
And that's something I beat this into students' heads. And I meet still at recovery meetings, like I said, and I met with a friend of mine. He's a little younger than you and me, and he ended up going back to jail because he pissed hot. And you if you want to stay out of jail, you can't have drugs in your urine. It is what it is. But I talked to him once he got out of jail, and he's like, "Hey, when I was down there, I got to talk to so and so, and they're doing better." And I said, "Well, hey, if you learned anything from your mistake there, then your mistake becomes a lesson."
Yeah.
But I've been through trials. You've been through trials. And I truly believe that each and every one of us in life, every listener right now to this Born Again to Live podcast will face some form of trial one way or another. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, most people get hung up on this verse, and they think, how can you have joy in failures or in trials or in trouble or testing? And I know immediately when I got was born again, I started to see that the things I'd been through my whole life was leading me to what God was calling me to. And you're right. I went through an addiction myself. I was addicted to porn, and there's so many kids nowadays that are addicted to that stuff that I'm able to help walk through, help to keep away from. There's kids, we're getting them early enough here at Big Blue that if they haven't gotten a phone in their hand, we're able to tell them about it. We're able to stop them from getting into that situation. Actually, you talked about getting the director thing. I was looking at trying to get grants to help to provide material to keep that out of the hands of kids in school. Like what we can do to help prevent that, because people might not realize that addiction is as bad as like every other addiction because it's a silent one. You can keep it to yourself. I did. I was addicted for 8 years and not one person knew. But you can keep it to yourself. But guess what? Eventually it's going to come out in some way. It cost me my marriage. It cost me my whole life for a while. It put me to a spot where I was really wanting to kill myself because I was ashamed of who I was and what I was. But I don't look at that and I go, oh man, that was awful. No, dude, I learned so much through that. I gained so much through that. And I give all credit to the grace of God, because without him being with me, I wouldn't be here.
And like I said, rejoice in how it made you stronger, because you went through that trial of your life. You were able to help these youth. It's ironic, and I know Amy's listening. I went to Camp Patty Run last year and spoke. And there was a young man there later on the following week was getting ready to go to jail. Guess who's been to jail?
Yeah.
Yay! I was able to talk to him. I was able to tell him, hey, look for this. This is probably going to happen. This is going to happen at intake, at bookkeeping, it's just... And I don't know how that young man's doing. I asked Amy once, and I think he's doing better. Terrible little... There was an accident, involved a bicycle. I ain't going into a lot of detail, but anyhow, I was always so ashamed of my life as a young adult. The whole drinking and driving, the whole going to jail, the whole drinking myself out of the military. I'm blessed now that I'm the chaplain for the American Legion 40 and 8. My driver's license says veteran on it.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed to have that. But my drinking cost me my military career.
Yeah.
My drinking cost me a lot of money, mainly in fines. My drinking got out of control. It cost me my freedom. It cost me, a lot of people were just disappointed in me in general. And that's why, I'm blessed. I'm so, so blessed that God, he never gave up on me. He never gave up on me.
Never will.
Exactly. But I'm so blessed that I found Christ before it was too late.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. How I didn't wrap myself around a white oak
Yeah.
or catch a bullet from a jealous husband, it is a miracle that only Christ can receive.
And I know this, my testimony, I've told it so many times. I was born again and almost immediately became depressed and isolated myself to the point where every day I thought about how I wanted to kill myself. And I got so depressed and so down on myself that it was all about my shame. But anyways, I went through that, and I never understood, like, most people come to Christ and they have this joy and they live in a high level for so long, like, and then they start to come down off that high of coming to Christ and the born again life, and then they start to get into normal living. And I came out of the born again life this really high, and I dropped straight to the bottom. And I lived at the bottom for a while, and then I came up and started living my normal life. And I never understood why until I was here. And it was right after Abby had left. And we needed somebody to do crossover, and I started doing it, and then I got the position of youth leader or youth minister or whatever you wanted to call me. Anyways, I was standing up there one day, and I was talking to kids about what they're going through in life. And I said, listen, I've been there. I know what it's like to be depressed. I know what it's like to want to kill yourself. I know what it's like. Don't let them win. Don't let those thoughts win. Don't let those things win, because God has so much better for you on the other side if you can pull through, if you can do this. And guess what? I'm here for you.
And that's why, you're never going to rejoice over the fact that, no, you had an addiction. I'm never going to rejoice over the fact that I had an addiction.
Yeah.
I'm never going to rejoice over the fact that, I had to go to jail. You're never going to rejoice over the fact, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
But we can both rejoice in the fact that it made us stronger and able to help others who may be going through something similar. Never underestimate how powerful your testimony may truly be.
Yeah.
How are we doing on time?
Oh, we got 12. We got 12. It's at 12 minutes. But
Well, I got another verse I really want to share, if you don't mind.
I go for it.
And this one I shared not long ago, the youth group that I was speaking at. And I brought Big Blue up in it. Verse 12, blessed is the one who endures trials, because when he has stood the test of time, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. And the crown of life, there's 5 crowns mentioned in Scripture that you can or may not get, and I'm not doing that right now, but I can if you want me to. I have a whole paper in my office on the 5 crowns.
Nice.
I am 1 credit away from my bachelor's. But blessed is the one who endures trials. It doesn't say everyone will endure trials. I have a very good friend of mine that I went to basic with, that I was very good friends with, I partied with, I played ball with, just a good friend of mine. He committed suicide. Took a pistol, put it to his dome, squeezed trigger. Put a bullet in his head.
Yep.
He didn't face his trials. Worse yet, the trials won.
Yeah.
Blessed is the one who endures trials. Not everybody that me and you know will endure their trial. I'm blessed. I endured my trials. I'm like you. I went through a bad divorce. I had an addiction. I had financial troubles. My house ain't burned down, but I had to pay for the same house twice.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So
Me too.
all right, well, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, man. And then there's the reason that we can look at this from this perspective, and it's common denominator. And Chris touched on it last week sometime. It's that helmet of salvation that we wear and our full armor. Because of all the trials, you think of them as flaming arrows from Satan every time. Well, they get deflected by all this armor that we got on. And if we got the armor, and most of our trials came before we knew Christ.
Oh, absolutely.
But God was still protecting us. God was still guiding us. Even when we don't think he was because we didn't believe in him, he's still there with us. But now that we are going through trials as believers and born-again believers, and we're wearing that full armor, you got that helmet of salvation. That's the common thing that keeps you being able to say, I persevered through that. I learned from that. I gained from that. Even if it's negative, like you said, he works all things for the good of those who believe in him. It might not say he works everything to good. It works everything towards the good. which the situation you're in might look really bad. And all those situations that we talked about, yeah, they were bad. Going to jail's not good. Going through divorce is not good. Going through addiction's not good. But he can work it to the good of those who love it. And when we came to Christ, we're those people, and he worked it to our good so that now we're equipped to handle all the questions, all the things that come our way.
The word that comes to my mind, Eric, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. This is actually finally coming to where I said me and you would be on the same page. Blessed is the one who endures the trials, because he who has stood the test of time will receive the crown of life that God has promised to him who love him. I'm not going the whole way. Blessed is the one who endures the trials.
Yep.
One word comes to my mind: support. When you have the correct support in your life, I believe it makes a huge difference, whether or not you make it through that trial.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I was doing. That's how it turned to Big Blue. We have a support system here for the students.
Yep.
But, even if they're not here, because this goes for adults too, if you're out there in adult land listening, your support system can be a brother in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
When I have something going on that's personal, I call Eric to pray for me. I don't even call him to pray with me. Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. That's my business. But I'll call him sometimes. I got this going on. I've already prayed. I don't see any improvement. Will you pray about this? And me and Eric have that relationship.
Yep.
But blessed is the one who endures trials. I believe a big difference maker in those who make it or don't make it through their trial is support centers, support system.
Yeah.
No, people go to AA to be around other drinkers. Now, if you're going because you're court ordered, that might be a little different.
Yeah.
I remember going the first time I went to AA because the state of West Virginia told me I had to.
Yeah.
So I went with the wrong intentions.
Yeah.
I went with the wrong motivations. Then I remember going with somebody else one time. Somebody said, hey, will you go with me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Now I remember listening for the first time with the correct ears.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is a good thing. Recovery 3D. There's a Church of God. They don't call it Recovery 3D now. They call it something else.
That's what they call it.
And no, Charles Henry down there in Piedmont, they got a recovery program on Fridays. Chain Breakers, wherever Denny Moyers is nowadays. I know him and BBC.
Got it.
Parted ways, whatever. But, no, those are support avenues, as I will call them. Big Blue. The reason I'm such a huge advocate for Big Blue is simply there's been times I've been here where there's 30 students all collaborating here in a Christ-centered, safe area. And granted, I've been here before when there's been 7 kids.
Yeah.
Right now, we're trying to do something at Moorfield to establish a safe haven, as I will call it. And, I look forward and praying that the numbers grow. Church in general. I remember at one time in my life, I used to go to church on Wednesdays. Like, I'd make sure I went on Wednesday because it was dollar draft night. And I knew if I didn't go to church that night, I was going to spend $20 on drafts. And if you drink 20 drafts, you'll fail a breathalyzer.
Yeah.
I weigh 203.4 pounds. I've been weighed twice today. Because if you weren't listening already, a couple hours ago, I was in the emergency room because I got a eye that swelled shut, but that's a whole different story. But anyhow, I weigh 203.4. It takes 3 beers and I'm legally drunk.
Wow.
That's long story short, but no. Blessed is the one who endures, because I'll say this until I puke. Support system. Support matters. Amy called a while ago. She called to check in because she does this with you, but she knows we support our sister.
Yeah.
I know I can call Amy myself.
Yeah.
I've called you before. I remember being at the Children's Hospital when my daughter was there 2 or 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago. Wow. I remember calling you. I remember calling Randy Wilson, Colton Labossiere. I needed support because I was struggling.
Yeah.
And they're threatening about taking my daughter to some hospital in Ohio because she wasn't improving. And I'm like, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to be learning here, but I'm definitely not picking up what you're laying down. And now I talked to her a while ago. She's on her way on to vacation at Lake Anna.
Huh.
I mean, she's doing so much better now, but that's not the point. The point is I had to support system. When I got in trouble as a youth, I'm not going to say there wasn't a support system for me, but I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, but we didn't have a big, do I think Big Blue would have made a difference? Yes. Would I still got in trouble? Probably. I've always had a problem with alcohol. I've always had a problem with women. This ain't the first time my eye has been swollen shut. You know that. This time it was self-inflicted. Most time it's called somebody else does it. But anyhow, blessed is the one who endures the trials, but it breaks my heart knowing that everybody who me and you come in contact with will not endure their trial.
Yeah.
Some will fail to temptation. Some will fail to anxiety, depression, suicide, addiction. And the greatest support that you or me or any student or adult out there listening will ever have is found in a man named Jesus Christ. I'm going to read it one more time. I'm going to have you speak on it too. Blessed is the one who endures his trials.
God never wastes a hurt, to steal DJ's verse. Like he says it all the time. God never wastes it.
And I stole it from Nathan Artell.
There you go. And if you get that taste and to taste and see that the Lord is good, and you understand who Jesus is and what he did, and the freedom, we talked about it yesterday, freedom. You touch that freedom and you get a hold of that freedom. All of those hurts, all of those things, you're going to get stronger just by going through them in life. And you may not have survived them well. You may not have went through them well. You may have struggled to get through them. Listen, if you get through it, it's a testimony.
Amen.
Every test has a testimony. So, and don't let your test be the end of you.
I love how you do the test of testimony. I always do the message.
Yeah.
And that's why we collaborate so well together. You know, Chris Montgomery was just here, using the word collaboration, and I believe collaboration is a part of that support system. But, when me and you talked the other day about, doing an episode or two together, and when I read, blessed is the one who endures, and it made me think of my buddy Brian, who, like I said, committed suicide years ago. And I'm like, man. And I was already working on the road. I was already building power lines somewhere. And I was like, man, was I there to support him? Did I even know his life was going to hell in a handbasket? Like, I remember some of it going on. I'm like, I can't even honestly say if I was there for him to reach out to.
Yeah.
I like to think he knew I was there. But did I make it very evident? I mean, I drank a bunch with him. I smoked a lot of pot with him.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever praying with him.
I'm saying, is that what he needed? And yeah, I know. But you can't beat yourself up over it, because there is another enemy out there that's what his goal is to kill, steal, and destroy.
But that's one reason I love, like, even your podcast. I listen to it most time when I'm feeding cattle. There's times I've messaged you or called you like, hey, I'm in the silo. Why am I not hearing your Amy? But this is a support system. My barnyard brethren, I love the fact I had a Petersburg high school student tell me, I don't really do the whole lot of the church thing, DJ, but I watch your videos every day because I love seeing the cows. Because she lives in town. She don't get to see cows.
Well, she's still hearing the word.
Exactly. We're planting seeds.
Yes.
But I love the fact that Big Blue was established. I say it all the time. It's a unique place designed for and more or less by the students.
Yeah.
But, I don't ever want to lose another friend by suicide, obviously. Yeah. But I never want to hear about another suicide in our area.
I'm funny. You talk about support. Last night we were having a thing here, and the girl was opening up and sharing everything that's going on in her life and how she feels, and she just stopped. She went away, and she went to the art room, and I said, "Hey, are you done venting?" She goes, "No, I just don't want to get in trouble." I said, "Sweetie, here's the rules. Unless you tell me you were abused or you tell me you're in danger, I don't have to tell anybody anything you tell me.
Or you're going to hurt yourself.
That's the third one. There's the three. I told her, I said, basically, unless you tell me you're in harm, I don't have to tell a thing. So everything you tell me ain't leaving this room, girl."
That's right.
And she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "I'm dead serious." That's a support system. That's something that those kids need. And that's what I'm glad I can offer that they know I'm a vault. I don't tell you. I don't come to DJ and be like, oh, do you know what happened with so-and-so? No. We don't do that. And that's a support system that this place offers. That's a great thing. So I believe that that's what this was created for. And the fact that it's Christ-centered.
Amen.
You can't do this without him. So it's got to be a Christ-centered place. Otherwise, we're not going to make it. So, but I love it, man. I love that. I love to be able to tell people, and I know people think that you shouldn't talk about your past, but me, you, and Chris talk all the time about who we used to be because the grace of God brought us out of that. And that's the only way we're ever going to teach other people that he can do it for you. I mean, if they're in the same spot we were, how are they going to get out? And by you saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't like that. Like, you got to tell them. You got to be able to communicate that I have a past. It doesn't look pretty, but I came through it. So,
absolutely.
So, all right, brother. I appreciate you being here.
Good episode.
And we'll be back hopefully tomorrow with Amy, guys. So, anyways, keep praying.
Later.
I'm